things get turbulent and the world is upside down, all we have is art because it reaches beyond language and it reaches deep into the human experience, and it's honest. With craft, we learn with our hands and we let materials talk to us, and they have particular properties that are very unique that allow them to do strange, wonderful things.
I'm Rhonda, Director of Groundwork Arts. Today I'm in Yucca Valley, California, visiting Jenne Giles, an extraordinary fiber artist. Jenne takes felting, a technique often seen as decorative craft, and transforms it into thoughtful sculptures and paintings. Her rich colors and familiar objects capture your attention, while the stories she tells invite you to reflect more deeply on the world we live in. Whether she's painting with fiber or sculpting it like clay, Jenne's work is truly inspiring. When you first started making art, where did you begin?
Oh gosh, art making goes way back for me. I can remember being in second grade, and I was one of the two people in the class who others would go to make art for them. So, like, my friend was really good at making these gorgeous drawings of horses. So, if you wanted horses galloping, you would go to her. But if you wanted something like a personalized mermaid, you would go to me. And so that's when I kind of knew that art was just a non-negotiable part of my life.
I think you said you started in felt by making wearables.
So it was kind of a process of discovery. I didn't set out to do this. It was just something that kind of arose from the medium. And then I could kind of harness it. And then for many years, I was selling these rose scarves and similar wearable pieces.
It looks like a painting, but it's actually made with felt.
When I decided to kind of transition away from the wearables, it was like, I want to show off what these fibers can do. And I want to play with fibers that aren't necessarily soft and silky and things, you know, you'd want to wear. I want to play with yak and camel and exotic things and colors, and I want to show them off. So what I would do is I would take a lot of my bits and pieces that I had left over of the different colors, and I would build those up as my rainbows as my background. And then I could go back in with other fibers that were kind of like, over here is a yak that forms kind of the brown of the background. And I could juxtapose those fibers, and some are short, some are long, some have different lusters, some are shiny, some are dull. And I could play more kind of just with those aesthetics, because it can be fun to just be a kid in a candy shop.
For me, it's super inspiring to see how you've used felt like paint.
I think people had kind of forgotten it as a material and only saw it in sort of practical usage, whereas it's got, you know, it is a medium, and a medium has limitless possibilities.
Your work has many layers to it, both physically and I think intellectually. It's not just about the painting. There are ideas.
This is a really interesting painting to look at in terms of ideas, because what I really wanted to express with the felt paintings was how societies work. And so, like, this particular painting is called Plumbing, and I wanted it to be like water is electricity and ideas and creativity. It happens in kind of a flow. So I wanted to make a donut, and this is where I'm just starting to get into color, and I dyed these with Kool-Aid because I wanted to kind of keep it foodie. And then this cream, this like really silky cream, is actually made from milk fiber. Like, the magic of felt making is that you add the water and the soap and the wool opens up, and then because of the crimp and the creep and the scales that the wool has, it'll bind on itself and make material. This is my kind of warrior cloud with all these like rainbows raining down, like an invigorating kind of rainstorm.
Where do you begin?
I would do a drawing of this. I would do a drawing of the cloud, and then I would take the metal and I would bend it until it approximates the shape that I want. Wool comes from animals, and it has this amazing ability to look like animals and to look like real animals and alive animals. So I was having fun doing like animals with the wool, and it would also kind of be a process of discovery. Like, I'd be like, oh, let's do the bee, because, you know, the bee needs more friends. Like, we need to think maybe more about the bee because it's a big part of our ecology. So as part of sort of the animals that I was doing, I wanted to go back and do the dodo bird because it's the first, everyone knows about it. Like it's the first animal that we know that went extinct. So I wanted to kind of make this Muppet of a dodo bird that is kind of telling us a story, kind of a plea to people to kind of think about the animals that we live with.
It looks like an animal of some sort. What is it?
It is a poodle. And I made this years and years and years ago, long before the Barbie movie, but I'm employing Barbie pink. And the poodle was like that kind of, when I grew up in the 80s, it was that quintessential like dog. And then there was like the pink poodle was this like really artificial dog that had been dyed and was kind of punk and stuff like that. And so what I'm trying to do with each piece is to suggest that there is a story going on. I don't even know what the story is. It's up to people to kind of come up with that story. And that's part of the fun of my journey, is to discover it and put it together in such a way that it's a story with many possible endings.
So it looks like a piñata to me.
It's
but
a piñata.
Not a piñata.
I love piñatas. Piñatas are so fun. We do them for all the birthdays, and the candy comes out, and it's this celebration of life. But this poor little guy has to suffer, right? Like to get to the candy. And I'm just trying to kind of point out that, it is something that we love. It is something that's fun, but it's also something that's kind of like the sacrifice and sometimes like just the beating up on it. Like, so the piñata was kind of like, what are we doing here? We're beating up this poor little creature. And I was, it had to do with kind of like a time when I felt like we were kind of beating up on certain parts of the population, and I wanted to kind of express that.
Why do you think art is important? Why do we need it in our lives?
It is our anchor in when things get strange.
So what would you say to a young artist starting to make art?
Follow your bliss. Let the art talk to you. Keep a sketchbook. Just let the ideas flow, because one idea will flow to the other idea, and just capture all those ideas like they're little fish in your net and make them and see where they take you. And that's just how you have that creative way of life, is you capture those little ideas and the things that spark your soul.
Jenny, I want to thank you for inviting us into your studio and letting me play with felt. It was absolutely incredible.
Oh, it's been such a treat to have you in the studio and share it with you. I hope you have a lot of fun playing with it.